Hi, I'm Euge Valovirta, and this one is about bogrendigital's MLC SUBZERO plugin. First, let's listen to a song I wrote inspired by the plugin and this fantastic ESP guitar from 1980s. Then let's go through the mix briefly, and then I'll go through the plugin and some of its features and presets and sounds. Alright, rock and roll. The mix. Alright, so those were the rhythm guitars, and like you saw, hopefully heard, I had one left and one right rhythm guitar hard pan both. So the left guitar was when I feel myself, and then when I mixed this, just cut my lead guitar part and put it to another lead guitar bus, which we'll get into soon. This preset was the 80s, I think, 80s rhythm that I tweaked a little bit, and I named it 80s rhythm Euge. I think I added a little bit more presence and treble or something, maybe a little bit more drive from the overdrive. I didn't do much. And then the right rhythm guitar, was a preset called Metal Rhythm. I didn't do anything to that. 606 is the other, was with EL34, two little different voicings. And then they both went into this rhythm guitar bus, which is a stereo bus, and there I did a little bit EQing, because the way I always do with plugins or with real amps or with realistic plugins like this one. You know, you dial a good sound first, then when you record, and then when you mix, when there's everything, drums, bass, you usually notice that, oh, maybe I need to boost a little bit and cut a little bit that. So what I did, low cut 70 Hz, high cut 9.76, 1.8 dB of boost to 16K, like really high air. Then cut it a little bit of that upper mid, which I like, because this amp reminds me a lot of Marshalls, especially the EL34, kind of that bite, which I really like, kind of muddied Marshall. So 3.6, usually around that, between 3 and 5K, there's usually some harshness, really narrow Q, just a few dBs out. And then some low mid out, and then boosting lows a little bit. So that was the EQ, no compression, a little bit pre-drive, you know, preamp drive from the 4KB channel strip. Then this what I've been using since, you know, Sword and Stone. Old Wave C4, again, multiband compressor, so whenever there's really low chunks, you saw kind of change them a little bit, so the guitar just sounds a bit cleaner. And then the Soothe, you know, with real amps and cabinets, you usually get some harsh or whatever noise, which is part of the charm, and the Soothe just reduces that a little bit. As you see, it doesn't do much. Tiny smoothening with the Soothe. And then what I usually always do, Dimension D and SPX90, these are hardware, real units, located there. So I'm sending a little bit of the rhythm guitars to the Dimension D and a little bit to the SPX90 symphonic preset. So I'm sending just a little bit, and this goes directly to the mix bus. So it doesn't sound like there's chorusing. It sounds wider and bigger and even more alive. And then a tiny amount of room reverb. This is kind of like a room sound almost to me. And that was the rhythm guitars. Great plugin, feels, sounds, operates. You know, I mixed this like real amps and cabinets. Cool, then lead. The Sub-Zero, I used the 80s rhythm Euge on the lead, so exact same sound. I just added a FET compressor, 1176, so it kind of speeds a little bit more, like those, really it makes it kind of more present and even more aggressive. I like a lot, especially this soft tube FET compressor, but you know, your whatever 1176, which is really fast compressor, I like to use that many times on guitar leads. And then it goes to this bus. This was probably a tiny amount of EQ. I think it's probably the same on the rhythm bus. Maybe I've cut it a little bit more lows, or maybe it was the same. I'm not really a numbers guy, you know, because I have the real knobs here, I just tweak them, and when it sounds good, it's good, no matter what the numbers say. And C4 again, and the soothe just to get rid of. So pretty much very similar than the rhythm bus, but just a compressor. And then I'm sending a signal to H3000. Yeah, plugin. This one I don't have as a real deal. To, you know, classic micro pitch. It widens it a bit. And then I'm sending to D2 delay, which is here, or it's actually here. That's a real deal from I think late 90s, early 2000s when those came out. I've had this forever. Great delay, kind of like ping pong delay sound. So if you listen the lead guitars alone, and I bypass the harmonizer and the delay, you'll hear, you know, what it does. Might sound a bit quite a lot here, but listen, when I, you know, in the context of a mix, suddenly the delay isn't, you know, maybe it could be quite a bit more. So that was it. I'm also saying in bass to the Dimension D. Well, that was the guitar mix. I'm gonna grab my guitar and play with the plugin a little bit and go through the different functions and sounds. Alright, so now I'm having the plugin, just the plugin, no SSL channel strips, nothing. It goes straight to stereo out and there's nothing on there, so what you hear is what you get. And the guitar is from 1980s, ESP M-1 Custom that I've quite heavily customized. This will be fixed in due time, it's a little bit. But yeah, great guitar, EMG81S, pick a switch, one volume, I remove the volume from here to here and through the tone away and a few tones. Stuff, what I usually do. But I'll do a more detailed video about this a bit later, maybe before and after this fix, but we'll see. I just got this, or bought this great guitar. Alright, but now it's the 80s rhythm Euge Euge tone I used on the song, and it sounds like this. Pretty cool. So I'm not gonna go through that much of the details because Jens BOGREN has done a great video about all the details, very detailedly. So link in the description to Jens video, check that out. But basic stuff, 2 overdrive pedals in front of the amp, and then you can control the amp here, which is great. So if you want to tweak the overdrive and amp at the same time, you can do that without changing windows. Amplifier, 3 channels, you can switch between 606 and EO34s, basic tone stack, and different channels, these small knobs, they change, like on the real amp, according to on what channel you are on. Cabinet, there's 2 cabinets, modern, vintage cabinet, and with your, you know, basic microphones, and you can move these either here, or move like this. It's pretty cool. Post EQ section, again you can also dial the amp and the post EQ, and the post effects which are delay and reverb. If you're on a mono track, this will be mono. If you're on mono to stereo, like I'm now, or stereo, then these effects will be stereo. So that was the rhythm, 80s rhythm Euge. The only thing I dialed, because Jens has a 80s rhythm here. I think because there's no drive, I just added a little bit more level, a little bit more tone, and a little bit more drive to my 80s preset. It's like this, and then what I did by just boosting a bit more with the overdrive. Like that. Okay, so that's the amp. Then there's a tuner. I'm in standard C now. What separates this a bit, I think, is the IRDX technology. Because real gear is real gear, real amps. There's just something that kind of randomness and filthiness what you get when you use real amps, real mic caps. I have two Marshalls in another room which I use all the time. There's just everything to me sounds bigger and kind of filthier, more alive. So this IRDX technology kind of emulates that certain randomness and compression and grit what you get with real speakers, especially if you drive them hard. So let's take this off and then I'll put it on. You start to get more kind of random waveforms the more you dial. I think they've done a pretty good job because it immediately I was like, yeah, now it kind of feels what I'm used to with, you know, there's a reason why I and many other engineers, players and producers use real gear. But this comes very close. Cool, so that's the IRDX. I'm quite impressed, I have to say. Then let's check out some presets, what there is, because there's a lot of cool factory presets, clean, crunch, high gain, and lead, and then there's many artist presets. Esa, my friend, Jacob Herman, my friend, we produced a couple of albums together, great guys. Let's check out the high gain, what Jens has done. Cool, so these are all really good sounding. Nice. Then a couple of leads, broken lead. Nice, atmospheric. Let's check out one more lead from Jens. A metal solo. Nice kind of ping pong delay, yeah. Cool. Right, then let's check out a few artist presets. Esa, my friend, a B lead, probably from Amorphis B Song. Cool. Draconian, Greg McIntosh, Paradise Lost. EL34. Lots of delay. Probably a lead sound from that album or something. Markus from Insomnium, Rhythm of Love. Kind of darker. A little bit like that. All these are pretty cool. Too much sense. EMG heaven. Okay, one more lead sound. Factory presets. Lead. Soaring lead. Yeah. Conclusion. Another awesome digital product plugin from Jens Bogren. I feel that it's kind of like Marshall-y, like mudded Marshall, like greedy mid kind of, especially the EL34. I really like this. I haven't played or tried or used the real amp, but based on this plugin, I really like that amp because it's like I said, kind of like a mudded Marshall, at least to me. Cool features, typical bogrendigital quality, strong recommendation, and I work with them, so I have an affiliate link in the description below. So if you're interested in buying this or any other bogrendigital stuff, plugins, drum samples, please use my link or my code Euge LV230V on the checkout, and you will get a small discount and I will get a small commission, which is much appreciated. It helps this channel and me in a way, So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you liked this video and found this informative and interesting. Until next time, take care. Bye.